Bonjour et bienvenue à Language Fluent. Je m'appelle Muskan, aka The Smiley, and today I'm back with yet another exciting video with Language Fluent under the course playlist Learn TEF in 15 days. After having the first episode of Kiva Gagner des Millions, that is the KBC, and discussing each and every minute detail about the reading, today I'll be presenting you to the listening practice in the TEF examination. And we'll be covering each and every detail about it. We'll discuss in depth that how it goes and what are the tactics that you can clear it. So let's get started with the video. Alright, guys, now let's see how overwhelming this exam can be. So, basically, the time that you get for the listening practice is just 40 minutes, and the number of questions that you're supposed to attempt are 60. So, this is how the difference gets over you. As you can see, you have only 40 minutes to cover up 60 listening questions. Moreover, if I give you another shock, the audios are played mostly once. Yes, you heard me right. The audios are played mostly once. There might be possibility that in some cases, if the audio is long or pretty short, they can play it over again. But get this straight in your head that it is mostly just once. Over the top, you have 360 points for your listening practice. That means if something goes wrong, your points are straight away deducted in that. And the level here goes out to be A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. That means again you have a stair to climb up on. And here the advice is simple, that goes out to be as the same that you did in the reading. That is, first you need to attempt the easier questions as compared to the difficult ones. And the audio follows that pattern only. Alright, guys. Now let's look at a few important things as well. The structure of section A is match the illustrations to the messages. These are the types of questions that you'll be getting in the section A of the listening practice. Section B goes out to be, you have to listen to the short messages and then reply to the questions that are being asked to you. Then we have section C, and it says listen to the long messages. Now there might be a message that the child is giving to his father or his mother over the call or something like that you have to hear and answer the following questions for. And in section D, you'll have to recognize and tell the difference between the similar sounds. That means you should be familiarized with the sounds as well. Okay, guys, now let's move forward and see a little taste of your listening practice. That is, you'll be hearing to an example audio and we'll be finding out the answers to the questions. Let's see the questions first. So, the introduction says, or the instruction says, vous allez entendre des messages sur répondeur téléphonique. Écoutez les messages et répondez aux questions. Question number 1. Ce message a un caractère amical, familial, professionnel, publicitaire. Question number 2 says, la personne appelle pour avertir d'un retard, proposer un service, prendre des nouvelles, annoncer un changement. Let's listen to the audio and answer the following questions. Alright, now let's discuss the marking scheme, or we also call it as le barème. Bonne réponse, un point. That means if you reply or respond correctly, you'll get 1 point. Pas de réponse, 0 point. That means if you do not reply at all, 0 points. Mauvaise réponse, wrong reply, again 0. There's no negative marking again. Now, let's see a few more things regarding the listening practice. Entendre des documents. First, what is going to happen is that you'll be hearing the documents. Répondez des questions. You have to reply to them, listen to the audio and reply to the questions. And the topics that you can have is message sur répondeur, annonce publique, like public announcements, interview, Émission de radio. Radio shows, TV shows, any kind of shows can be there in the listening practice. And also, there's a pattern to it. Like, how does the pattern follow around? The very first thing that you'll have to do is the audio will be played. Once you are hearing it, before that, you have to read the questions. Like, I'm sitting in the examination hall, the first very thing that I'm going to do is start reading the questions. Like, they will be saying this in the instructions itself. I'll read the questions, then the audio will be played. My motive will be to hear the audio, to comprehend it, and mark the correct options side by side. Then I need to check it if the audio is played once more, or otherwise I'll shift to the next set of questions for question number 2, 3, 4 respectively. Now, let's see a few types of questions that we have. First is the 8 questions that you have, comprendre des dialogues. Here you have to understand the dialogues that are happening. What kind of dialogues are happening? Okay, you have to comprehend what the 2 people or 3 people are talking about to each other. Next, you have 26 questions, and they are comprendre des messages courts. There will be short messages that you have to hear and comprehend, understand. 16 questions will be comprendre this interview. There might be an interview going on that you have to hear and comprehend accordingly. And the 10 questions are reconnaître des sons. You have to re-see, re-study. You have to understand, know the sounds that are going on that time. So that means it's a complete box where you have to understand each and everything that is going along with the language. Okay, so let's start off with my very first advice for you guys. Lisez les questions, puis écoutez le document entier. So here what you have to do is read the question completely, then listen to the document and reply and respond. So let's see this with the help of an example. As you can see, the 2 questions that we discussed before. What am I going to do here? Firstly is just going to read the questions. So the question says, ce message a un caractère. La personne appelle pour. So here I just did my part. I read the questions and now I'll try to comprehend them. The second advice goes out to be lisez toute option de réponse avant de répondre. Now you're supposed to read the options that are given to you before replying or before listening. So here are the options: amical, familial, professionnel, publicitaire. Or for the second question, I'll see avertir de retard, proposer un service, prendre des nouvelles, annoncer un changement. So what I did, first I read the question, then I read the MCQs. I'm trying to comprehend both of them, and now the audio will start playing. Répondez bien à toutes les questions. Read the questions, read the options, heard the audio ones, and now I'll try to answer them all. So first I'll see it, like what does the question says. I'll read the options, try to answer them, then I'll go to the second one, see the question, answer the options that I'll choose from the MCQs, and that is how I'm completely done. Here it was not very exhausting because we had just 2 examples, but sometimes in some cases you also have up to 6 questions. So in that case, rather than getting a little distracted by everything else that is going around you, my advice here is the options, questions, options, listening, rechecking. Okay, let's proceed further. Now, let's discuss a few tips and tricks that will cover if your expertise in the language, that means your B2, or you're just giving it after your A2 or P1. Let's discuss a few points where you are not that good in the language but you really want to appear for this exam. So, here my first tip would be pick up words and answer. What does it mean? Like, you have to pick words from the question and then relate it to the answer. Like from the very 2 examples that we took before, let's see question number 1 here. Ce message a un caractère. So here this message has a character. What type of document is this? What is the character of this document? That means the character word, the type is very important. So I'll pick this word. I'll pick and install it in my mind. That is un caractère. I'll consider it to be very important. And for the question 2, la personne appelle pour. Here it goes, why is the person calling? Why did he called? What is the reason that he called? So here for me, calling is an important thing. So I'll just underline or tick mark it for my own intellectual intelligence that I need it. It is important for me. Now, next point is, do not try to understand the global meaning. Now, why did I say do not try to understand the global meaning in listening is, sometimes what happens while doing the questions, what you do is you focus on each and every point. That is what is important. Focusing on each and every point is important. Why? Because when you try to concentrate on the global meaning of the question, you miss the essence, the small parts of it. And those small parts are actually said in your listening exam. So be careful here, it's not a reading practice, it's listening. So it's better for you to comprehend the question completely rather than understanding it in a global sense. Third tip here would be, listen for the major point or verb. Now, this is the thing that is actually matching with the second one. Like I said, when you actually study the question thoroughly, you would get to know whatever is said in the audio. Like, suppose I'll take the first question itself that said, ce message a un caractère amical, familial, professionnel, publicitaire. Now I've completely comprehended it. I know what all of them means and what they are actually trying to say. So whenever I'll be hearing to the document, I'll get to know the tone of it, the character of it. So I've picked up the word, I've picked up the option, and now I can relate to it. I can understand the global meaning of it and apply it here. This is very important, guys. Understanding the global meaning of the listening and picking out each and every small detail about the question will help you get through it. And last tip here would be, vocabulary revision is very, very important. The major point where you lack is always your vocabulary. I know it can be speed as well, it can be how they are talking, but it's always related to the vocabulary. Be careful about your vocabulary. Try to practice as much vocabulary as you can. Pick up different words, pick up different topics, and then try to relate and cover up the vocabulary from it. Like for example, I'll pick two, body parts and clothes. So it have their own vocabulary, own respective vocabulary. So I'll try to cover up each and everything that lies under them. I hope you guys understood the point. Okay guys, now let's come to a very major part, that is, how shall or how could we prepare for it? So let's go with the first point, that is practice beforehand. Why did I say practice beforehand? When you have already solved 3 to 4 practice papers, you have done listening, you have done reading, you have done writing, speaking. So that means you have a little confidence in yourself. And that confidence enables you to perform very well. Trust me on this. Why did I say it? Because listening can be a little overwhelming at times. Now, here I come to the major part that I did in the beginning, that when you are listening to the audios continuously, you'll be overwhelmed by it. You'll go crazy over it. Like, that concentration level, maintaining that concentration, having that curious mind is very difficult at times. So, what to do? Here is my first tip, that you should practice beforehand. Practice beforehand will make your mental simulation that way. You'll act consciously and you'll be more attentive throughout. Second tip will be, receptive skills can only be practiced. Now, here comes the second point. What are receptive skills? What do you guys understand by the receptive skills? I hope you all know them, right? Okay, so basically this major point says that these are the skills. Receptive skills are the one that can be practiced. Why? Because you can hear the audio over and over again. You can listen to it. When you're listening to it again, you'll pick out a few points that you didn't heard in the previous one. So when you'll be practicing listening over and over again, you'll have the mindset that your mind will automatically guide you to the places that you should be. I hope you got it. Now, learn as many verbs and tenses as you can. Now, I hope you all know that French is all about verbs and tenses. Verbs, there are more than 10,000 verbs in French. So, it's upon you. Like you want to do 100, 200, or you can practice as many as you want to. Now, further, they are divided into different categories. Like I'll pick the major 3. IR, RE. So now that you know the major categories of verbs that you have, you can create columns in your notebook and go along with the tenses. Let's follow a timeline here. Like you have present, le passé composé, imparfait, plus parfait. If we go into the future, futur proche, futur simple. If we go to subjunctive mood, subjunctif présent, subjunctif passé. If we go to conditionals, conditionnel présent et conditionnel passé. So this is how you can follow this timeline along with your verbs and practice them accordingly. It will help you because the major vocabulary that you will be getting is out of the verbs only. Next is read questions before and focus on finding answers. Sometimes we know that we can comprehend the questions completely and we try to comprehend the listening as well. This is the major mistake that we all make. Let's just aim towards it that our goal is to find answers, not to completely comprehend what the listening says. It's not important that you understand each and every word that is passing. Okay guys, so in crux, whatever I said is that you have to understand each and every detail of what the question says and comprehend the global meaning of the listening, because here your goal is to find the correct answers rather than understanding the total meaning of the listening practice. Hope that helps. And the last but not the least is to practice each and every grammar topic. That is the major grammar topics that you have studied earlier. They can cover your tenses, they can be verbs, they can be your pronouns, adjectives, anything. So that means grammar is very important because we make grammatical mistakes the word. So that is it for the video guys. I hope you find this video very interesting as well as informing, and I'll take my part off here. I'll see you in the next round of KBC in the next video where we'll be playing Kiva Gagne de Million episode the. So I'll see you guys soon. And if you want to refer the KBC 1 episode, Kiva Gagne de Million episode you can go down in the description below. You can check all the videos that we have created or I've created with Language Fluent. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves. Au revoir. Bisous bisous. Au revoir.